you got to stay ready. You do got to stay ready because you don't know when that work is going to intersect with that right moment, whether it be that right, that right interaction, that interview, that uh, serendipitous moment where someone sees something that you're doing and says, "Hey, I want to learn more about that." You don't know when that's going to happen. You just have to keep going and going and going and going. And you have to be so in love with what you're doing, so obsessed with what you're doing. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bridging the Divide podcast. I'm your host, Rolando Bonilla. Hey, I been away for a couple weeks. Right after the Super Bowl, morning Monday after, I woke up and had a really, really sharp pain in my stomach. It turned out it was my appendix, and it was preparing to burst. So I had an emergency appendectomy. What's funny is I thought it was all the fast food and, chicken wings and pizza from the night before, but it wasn't. It was my appendix telling me that, funny enough, on my birthday week, it no longer wanted to be a part of my body. So that's why I've been out delayed. It's nice to be back, but I did want to talk to you about that Bad Bunny Super Bowl performance. I know I'm a couple weeks out. Forgive me for that, but I got to get this one off my chest because in many ways, I think this is precisely why it is that I'm doing the Bridging the Divide podcast. So hear me out. First of all, just as a fan of the music, loved it. Vibrant, rich, colorful. It told a story. It brought people together. You were dancing. I was happy. If you didn't like it, that's your right. But at the end of the day, I thought it was the right time, the right message, the right unity for all of us as a nation. But what I'm interested in is who he was 10 years ago, because that 10 years ago is in many ways what I keep talking about, the bridging the divide, right? This idea that someone's going to come rescue us, that, if we change policies enough, and yes, I think that's important and we have to continue to do that. But at the end of the day, if you want to make that change in your life and you want to bridge your personal divide and, break those cycles of whether they be poverty or the indecision to start a business, it always begins and ends with you. So by now, you've all seen all over social media that just in 2016, Benito, then Benito, pre his Bad Bunny days, was a bag clerk at a grocery store in the Dominican Republic. And people were impressed about his show and how far he'd come, and the beauty and the pageantry of it. I was impressed with Benito, the kid, 2016 bagger, who could have easily quit, who could have easily been persuaded to not continue his dream because it was too big, right? Who could have easily said, this, as much as I like this, I'm not going to commit myself to this because I don't have a worldwide audience. I'm just putting up music on SoundCloud as I define myself, find my voice, and hope that people like my material. To me, that is really where the win is, right? Because to get to that place where he is this mega star, where we all know his name, we all have an opinion about him, we all have an opinion about his music, that had to start somewhere. That had to start with the kid and a dream. And that dream was that he was going to make music and that he was going to put that music out there. There weren't going to be any applauses out there. There were going to be people, paying 10, 20, $30,000 for a Super Bowl ticket. There weren't going to be people at his residency in Puerto Rico, in lining up to get a view of the casita that he's made a big part of his concerts. It was just him. It was his ideas, his lyrics, his beats, and SoundCloud. That's it. Maybe some friends. I wasn't there. I can't tell you. maybe some friends here and there, but it was just him, his dream, and his music. No different than you. No different than you with your idea of, starting a business in tech, starting a law firm, starting, a social media brand for yourself. No applause, no fanfare. When you walk into a place, most people don't know who you are. That's okay. But that's the hard part, right? That's the part where most people quit because everyone wants to jump from the idea straight to that Super Bowl 60 performance. I want to be at that level right away. When that level is an aspiration that must be built brick by brick by brick in silence. No one applauding you. In fact, most people you talk to about your idea telling you your idea is impossible, or your idea is stupid, or your idea doesn't make sense. And a lot of times you saying, you know what, you're right, I quit. And so to me, what's most impressive about his story and how his story applies to all of you, myself included, is that we have to go through that period of time when we're bridging that divide in the form of the businesses we're trying to create, where it's just you and your idea and trying to turn that idea into something bigger than it is, into reality, into something bigger than it is, into something consumers want, into something that you can build on and make bigger and make bigger and make bigger. If you think that the story with Mr. Bad Bunny was one of being lackadaisical, then you are clearly mistaken and do not understand the assignment of what it takes to start something. That man had to have been obsessed. That man had to have had such a clear vision for where he was going that no matter how many naysayers came at him, no matter how many people didn't like his music, didn't download it, no matter how many times the music at times may not have even made sense, he was going to keep going. And the same could be said about your favorite actor or actress on television, in movies. The same could be said about your favorite, Super Bowl star, World Series star. It all starts with you by yourself and your idea. If you have people rooting for you at this level, consider yourself blessed. Let me say that again. If you have people rooting for you at this level where no one knows who you are, where no one knows what it is you're doing, where people don't understand it, if you have people rooting for you, remember that. That's a gift. Because the vast majority of people don't have that. And even if you don't have that, again, vast majority, you have to be so committed to your idea, so committed to making it a reality that you are going to continue moving forward with it. In Mr. Bunny's case, he did so after long shifts at a supermarket in Puerto Rico. Well, let me say that again, in Puerto Rico. He had long shifts. Think about the work that he did, standing on your feet all day, dealing with customers all day. Sometimes those interactions are not positive. Sometimes those interactions are really, really quite the opposite of positive. And he still went home and he still applied himself to his craft. And he still did so with an obsession and a clarity in vision that allowed for this day to happen. And so you see, success is not luck, right? Yes, there's a level of luck in someone actually finding your music, finding, seeing you play, buying your product. But that luck cannot occur if you are not taking the steps to be ready for that moment. You have a close friend that says, you got to stay ready. You do got to stay ready because you don't know when that work is going to intersect with that right moment, whether it be that right interaction, that interview, that serendipitous moment where someone sees something that you're doing and says, "Hey, I want to learn more about that." You don't know when that's going to happen. You just have to keep going and going and going and going. And you have to be so in love with what you're doing, so obsessed with what you're doing, that even if it doesn't come, you still feel satisfied. You see, for me, my business, okay, when I first started, I remember people telling me in San Jose, California, but there's a political dichotomy, the labor side of the house and the business side of the house. And I remember very vividly someone saying to me, like an official saying to me, if you don't pick labor or business, you won't make it. I thought that was funny. The fact that I am supposed to be in a particular box in order to have success felt to me completely ass backwards, because I live in the fourth largest economy in the world. Why would I have to pigeonhole myself to one box or another to have success? So I didn't. Instead, what I did was I doubled down my efforts, and I said to myself, even if people don't see it, I believe so strongly in the product that I'm offering, the services that I'm offering, that there will absolutely be a market for them in the fourth largest economy in the world. That was my mantra. And when we started, there was this consistency of, well, if you don't pick a side, you will not make it. Well, first and foremost, these beefs are your beefs. I'm here trying to provide something that I feel is of value to the community, is of value to people. So if I can help people, I am more interested in making sure that I can help, that my service can help. And so I locked in. And despite hearing that thought over and over again, this or that, I ignored it. And I know I pissed off a lot of people along the way. But I'll tell you what, I don't regret that. And at the end, time proved me right. That if you stay consistent with your vision, if you stay consistent with where you know you are supposed to go, and you're willing to put in the work, and see, that's the key part, right? That's the key part, because essentially what people were saying to me was, you have to pick a side that you then have to completely give of yourself to in order for them to select you. I ignored that. I rejected that thought process, because to me, if my product is good, everyone should want my product and should be able to access it. But it took vision, it took clarity, and it took an obsession that I still have to move past those turbulent clouds and create my own markets and create my own places where I could do the things that I enjoy to do in the business space. So for all of you that are still, in my head, I still have those songs running through my head. A lot of it because too, the music was mixed with a lot of the music I grew up with. But as we continue to think about that moment, let's apply that moment to ourselves. And let's remember that before he was Bad Bunny, he was Benito from Puerto Rico, just like you are who you are from wherever you are, right? And so that to me was the real takeaway from that concert, that everything really is possible if you're willing to do the work, stay committed, stay obsessed when no one's applauding. It's easy to do the work when everyone's giving you an applause. It's a whole nother level when no one's giving you that applause and it's just you and your dreams. Because if you really want to get to those levels, which I know you can get to, you've got to put in that time and energy when no one's looking. And so I really want to see you make those dreams of yours a reality. I know you'll get there. Let's get there together. Until next week, everyone.